Bitcoin will soon hit a record high of. I've been studying Bitcoin's price movement closely since 2008, and I have found the answer to how high Bitcoin will go in 2024. If it will hit $100,000 this year or not, why it would go so high with all the historical evidence behind each time Bitcoin has skyrocketed. And if you watch this video until the very end, I will share my favorite place to buy Bitcoin and the safest place you could keep your Bitcoins away from hackers. First thing we have to address is Bitcoin halving, which is an event that occurs roughly every 4 years. During this event, the rewards given to Bitcoin miners, who are the people who verify Bitcoin transactions or creating new blocks, which are containers that hold a record of Bitcoin transactions, are reduced by half. This means miners receive 50% fewer Bitcoins. The purpose of this halving process is to control inflation, which is the process of money losing value over time, because there will be more of that money printed or made, and make sure that new Bitcoins are released at a steady and predictable rate until the maximum supply of 21 million Bitcoin is reached. Even though you can't touch a Bitcoin like you can hold a toy or a block, it's still valuable because its price goes up and down depending on how many people want it. What's special about Bitcoin is that we know for sure it will become rarer over time, and we know exactly when and by how much. This happens because of the Bitcoin halving, which is like a special event that is built into its computer code. Every time 210,000 blocks are added to the Bitcoin system, which takes about 4 years, the amount of new Bitcoins created gets cut in half. This will keep happening until the year 2140, when all the Bitcoins that will ever exist have been made. The next halving is set for this April 2024. When it happens, the rate at which new Bitcoins are made will drop. Before, the inflation rate was about 1.75%, but after the halving, it will be only 0.85%. This means that there will be fewer Bitcoins that will be added onto the market. In fact, from this halving to the next one, only 656,250 Bitcoins will be created, which is exactly half of the 1,312,500 Bitcoins created from the previous halving. When the halving happens, that's less Bitcoins being made. This can make the price of Bitcoin go up, even if the number of people wanting it stays the same. Let's talk about the first Bitcoin halving, which happened on November 28th, 2012. Before the halving, miners got 50 Bitcoins for each block they made, but after the halving, they only got 25 Bitcoins per block. This was the first time that the rate of the Bitcoins being made went down, which made the inflation rate of Bitcoin go down too. After the first Bitcoin halving in November 2012, the price of Bitcoin went a lot in the following months. But looking back at what happened before, it seems like the price of Bitcoin went up by a lot, maybe even 700% in the months after the halving. This shows that more people became interested in Bitcoin and wanted to buy it. The price of Bitcoin at the time of the halving was $13, and the following year's peak was at $1,152. Before the first halving, hardly anyone knew about Bitcoin, except for a small group of enthusiasts working on it when it was just starting out. However, when the price of Bitcoin went up from just being a little over $1,000, it started getting attention in the news. Still, most people don't really think Bitcoin was important or worth paying attention to, except for those who were already interested in it. When the price dropped back down to $200 in 2015, some people said that the bubble has popped and they thought Bitcoin was finished. This idea kept coming up throughout the ups and downs of Bitcoin's price in the coming years. The second Bitcoin halving happened on July 9, 2016. Before this, miners got 25 Bitcoins for each block that they made. But after this halving, they only got 12.5 Bitcoins per block. Just like the first halving, this event made it so that fewer new Bitcoins were being made, which changed how many Bitcoins were available. After the second Bitcoin halving in July 2016, the price of Bitcoin went up by a good amount in the month and the years that followed. More people were starting to use and know about Bitcoin, and some people were buying and selling Bitcoin just to make a profit. The price of Bitcoin at the time of the second halving was $664, and the following year's peak was at $17,768. During the second halving, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies became really popular, and they were talked about a lot in the news. But along with all the attention came a lot of criticism from the media. This was also when there was a big increase in alternative cryptocurrencies, also known as altcoins, and initial coin offerings, also known as ICOs, which led to many scams and crypto startups failing. The third Bitcoin halving happened on May 11th, 2020. Before this, miners got 12.5 Bitcoins per block made, but after the halving, they only got 6.25 Bitcoins per block. Just like the other halvings, this made it so fewer Bitcoins were being made, which changed how many Bitcoins were available. After the third Bitcoin halving in May 2020, the price of Bitcoin kept going up in the months that followed. More big companies were starting to use Bitcoin, and the overall economic situation was good for Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin at the time of the third halving was $9,734, and the following year's peak was at $67,549. The third halving was special. This was because it happened during the pandemic in 2020 when many businesses around the world were closed. But even with all of that going on, the price of Bitcoin mostly followed the same pattern that it has in the past. During this time, billionaire investors like Paul Jones and Michael Saylor started to say that they had put some of their money into Bitcoin for the first time. In every cycle, the price of Bitcoin went up a lot before the halving, then went down a little bit, and then went up a lot again in what is called a bull run. This big increase usually happened about 18 months after the halving. This is a simple way to explain what happened in the last 3 cycles, but it's pretty accurate. The Bitcoin price halving in 2024 is special because it took more than 10 years to happen, but now something else big has happened. The SEC approved 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs. A Bitcoin ETF, which stands for Exchange Traded Fund, is like a special investment fund that follows the price of Bitcoin. It lets people buy and sell shares of the fund on the stock exchange. So even if you don't own any Bitcoin, you can still invest in it through this fund. The value of the fund depends on how much Bitcoin is worth at the time, and you can trade its shares on stock exchanges all day long. This makes it easy for people to buy and sell, and in January, it even reached over $10 billion worth of trading in just one day. Interest rates are another thing to consider when looking at Bitcoin, because in the past, Bitcoin has done pretty well when interest rates are low, but in 2023, Bitcoin did well even when interest rates were higher. Some people who watch the market think that the Federal Reserve, which is the US central bank and also decides on the interest rates, won't raise rates anymore and might even lower them in 2024. Here are some Bitcoin halving 2024 price predictions from veterans in the space. Coinbase sees a Bitcoin price peak above $170,000 in August 2025 before it will come back down near between $95,000 and $100,000. Bitcoin believes that there'll be an all-new all-time high before the halving happens, which would be right now, which it did. It went to $70,000 with the post-halving peak seeing prices over $250,000. Popular analyst CryptoCon sees a new high of around $130,000 about 4 years after the previous high, or sometime around November 2025. Marshall Beard of Gemini threw out the $100,000 price figure given if Bitcoin reaches its previous high of $69,000, which it did. If this halving follows the pattern of the previous ones, we might get very close to the desired $100,000 price. However, we also need to consider another factor, the current amount of Bitcoin already available. Right now, there are about 19.6 million Bitcoins out there, but only 2.3 million of them are easy to buy in exchanges. This is the lowest it's been since early 2018. Throughout Bitcoin's history, the total supply of Bitcoins on the exchanges kept increasing even after the halving. But in 2022, things have changed and it started to look like there were fewer Bitcoins available in the exchanges. The simple explanation for this is that now more people want to buy Bitcoin than there are available for sale. With the halving approaching, Bitcoin's already low supply will face even more demand. While the halving itself could bring the price close to $100,000, the additional pressure from limited supply will likely give it the extra boost that it needs to reach that milestone. The price of Bitcoin usually reaches its highest levels in just 150 days. Experts think that Bitcoin might follow its past patterns and go up by about 30% in the same amount of time. If that happens, Bitcoin could reach $80,000 by the end of August and might keep going up for the rest of the year. When a halving happened in the past, the price of Bitcoin went up by about 125% on average. If the same thing happens this time and the price goes up by the same amount as before, Bitcoin could reach almost $99,000, just a little bit below $100,000. Before we get to my favorite place to buy Bitcoin and the safest place to store it, please subscribe if you found value in this video and so you do not miss future videos on crypto or finances. My favorite place to buy Bitcoin is on Coinbase. I'm not at all sponsored with them. This is just based on my experience and the experience of others. And Coinbase is considered a safe place to buy Bitcoin for several reasons. Coinbase follows the rules and laws about finances in the different places that it operates. It also takes strong steps to make sure users' money and personal details are safe. Coinbase also uses very smart ways to keep users' money safe by using special codes, encryption, and storing most of the money offline where it's harder for hackers to get to. Plus, they also have an insurance to cover any losses if there's ever a security problem. Coinbase is one of the biggest and most trusted places to buy and sell cryptocurrencies available. worldwide. It's been around since 2012 and has earned a good reputation for being reliable and trustworthy among users and people involved in cryptocurrencies. Coinbase has a really easy to use website and app, which makes it simpler for people who are just getting started, who would like to buy, sell, and keep their Bitcoin safe. They also give users lots of helpful tools and information to help them understand how cryptocurrencies work. Also, Coinbase has lots of people buying and selling Bitcoin all the time, so it's really easy to trade quickly and get good prices. This helps make sure that the prices stay fair and users can buy and sell Bitcoin without having any issues. Keep in mind, no platform can guarantee complete safety, but Bitcoin's strong security, the way it follows rules and regulations, good reputation, and easy to use design make it a pretty safe choice for buying Bitcoin. Now, let's talk about how to keep your Bitcoin safe once you have it. And they are in a form called a cold wallet. Cold wallets are like special safes for your cryptocurrency because they keep the secret codes offline, away from the internet. This is different from hot wallets, which are connected to the internet and can be easier for hackers to gain access to. Even if a hacker somehow gets into your computer or online accounts, they can't get to the Bitcoin in your cold wallet unless they physically have the device where the secret codes are stored. Using a cold wallet means that you're in full control of your private keys, so you don't have to rely on anyone else to keep your money safe. This fits perfectly with the idea of cryptocurrencies being decentralized, where users or the people who own the cryptocurrencies have all the power over their own funds. Honestly, cold wallets are the best option when it comes to keeping your Bitcoin safe. They offer the highest level of security and give you peace of mind, especially if you're storing a lot of cryptocurrency. If you would like a cold wallet, I got a great one that I will leave in the description, and if you buy using my link, I will receive a commission. Thank you.